وصحبه ومن والاه. It's good to be back home. Jazakumullah khair. I hope that you have been all doing well, inshallah ta'ala, and that your hearts were continuously focused on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that we were all and you were all doing your best to continue to practice what we are learning together, inshallah ta'ala. Of what we recited tonight, this is the Khatira instead of the Khatira for after Isha because it's getting late. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, إِنَّ اللَّهَ عِنْدَهُ عِلْمُ السَّاعَةِ وَيُنَزِّلُ الْغَيْثِ وَيَعْلَمُ مَا فِي الْأَرْحَامِ وَمَا تَدْرِي نَفْسٌ مَاذَا تَكْسِبُ غَدًا وَمَا تَدْرِي نَفْسٌ بِأَيِّ أَرْضٍ تَمُوتُ إِنَّ اللَّهَ عَلِيمٌ خَبِيرٌ. Says Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in those 5 matters that many ulama say these are the things that Allah only knows and no one else knows, except of course by the permission of Allah Azza wa Jal to make someone else know. As Allah says, وَلَا يُحِيطُونَ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنْ عِلْمِهِ إِلَّا بِمَا شَاءَ. Keep that in mind when the ulama say, for example, that these are the 5 matters that only Allah knows. That doesn't mean that sometimes, for some divine reasons, Allah would not give some knowledge of that to some specific servants and ibad of His subhanahu wa ta'ala, as when we say, it is Allah who knows the unseen. وَيَعْلَمُ الْغَيْبِ عِنْدَهُ مَفَاتِحُ الْغَيْبِ. That doesn't mean that there is no one else who knows some ghaib by the teaching of Allah. Example of that, the Anbiya and the Rusul and the Malaika and some of the awliya. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enables them and permits them and gives them that knowledge of ghaib, as Allah mentions in the Quran as well. And our Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, for example, Allah gave him knowledge of some ghaib as a sign of his nubuwwah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. So Allah says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ عِنْدَهُ عِلْمُ السَّاعَةِ. Verily, with Allah is the knowledge of the hour. That is when the ultimate moment happens of the end of the world as we know it, of human existence especially, and of the world and of life as we know it. عِنْدَهُ, he says, with him, belongs to him, with him the knowledge of the hour. He did not say, for example, he does not allow anyone to know that. He says, with him is the knowledge of the hour. The original knowledge of that, the source of that, is with Allah Azza wa Jal. And He may give that knowledge, by inference, to whom He pleases, especially of some of His Anbiya perhaps, or of some of His Malaika perhaps, when He wills. But no one has knowledge of that ever, independently from Allah Azza wa Jal. إِنَّ اللَّهَ عِنْدَهُ عِلْمُ السَّاعَةِ. He didn't say, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَعْلَمُ عِلْمَ السَّاعَةِ وَلَا غَيْرُهُ يَعْلَمُ. He says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ عِنْدَهُ عِلْمُ السَّاعَةِ. Like when you say, I have something. It doesn't mean you may never give it to someone. In the sentence, I have something, doesn't mean you have not given it to someone else. And this is sometimes a mistake that is committed by many who comment on this ayah. And this ayah is that the ultimate knowledge of the sa'ah belongs to Allah. If it belongs to Him, no one possesses it except if He gives it, because it belongs to Him. He says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ عِنْدَهُ. With Him is عِلْمُ السَّاعَةِ وَيُنَزِّلُ الْغَيْثِ. Now he says, he uses the active form, يُنَزِّلُ الْغَيْثِ. It is He who causes, in other words, al-ghayth, the rain, to fall. The rain is called al-ghayth because it rescues. It brings life. It's the rescuer. وَيُنَزِّلُ الْغَيْثِ. But actually, who is al-Ghayth, the ultimate al-Ghayth and al-Ghawth? Who? Allah Azza wa Jal. But He calls the creation of His al-Ghayth. He calls rain al-Ghayth. But is rain Ghayth absolutely and independently? No, who is al-Ghayth and al-Ghawth? Allah Azza wa Jal. But He calls a creation of His which He uses to bring Ghayth and to bring Ghawth and to bring salvation and rescue. He calls it al-Ghayth. So, in other words, rain is not Ghayth in the absolute sense. Allah calls it Ghayth. Allah is al-Ghayth. But al-Ghayth here is a creation of Allah that He calls al-Ghayth because that has no ability to rescue except by Allah's creative act and by Allah's permission. وَيُنَزِّلُ. And it is He who makes it fall. The rain. يُنَزِّلُ الْغَيْثِ. Now this means, since it uses the active form, the verb يُنَزِّلُ, which means it's something that is active, dynamic, it changes. He has that power always. He does it, He renews it, subhanahu wa ta'ala. يُنَزِّلُ الْغَيْثِ. And therefore, there is no other means that causes the rain to fall except, again, by His act of tanzeel. By His act of tanzeel. So, when, for example, a king says, I saved this land, and the king, وَتَعَالَى اللَّهُ عَنِ الْأَمْثَالِ, may Allah be exalted from analogies, the king actually never moved from his place, but who actually liberated the land? His soldiers, his army, his subjects. But he says, I liberated the land. يُنَزِّلُ الْغَيْثِ. Allah Azza wa Jal causes al-Ghayth to fall. In which way, in which modality, how? As He wills. So even if He gives knowledge to some creatures, jinns or malaika or human beings, to do something through the laws of nature that Allah created, He gave them that knowledge, then who is the real munazzil of the ghayth? Still Allah Azza wa Jal. Like we say, you hear, I hear. Actually, as believers, when I say I hear, there is a process by which, in my body, which is created by Allah, by which I hear. But actually, do I possess that in the absolute sense? No. It is Allah Azza wa Jal who has created that in me, and I say, I hear. Actually, Allah made me hear. So, but I say, I hear, I attribute that to myself. And that's the way we speak. يُنَزِّلُ الْغَيْثِ. Yes, it is He who has the absolute power to do that. And no one has that absolute power at all. يُنَزِّلُ الْغَيْثِ وَيَعْلَمُ مَا فِي الْأَرْحَامِ. وَيَعْلَمُ. Again, the active form of the verb in this case. And He says, مَا فِي الْأَرْحَامِ. That which is in the wombs. First of all, now people say, well, we know what's in the wombs now. You go scan, and you know that there is a baby or not, and whether it is after a while, male or female. Then you say that only Allah knows. Well, the text teaches, the ulama, the commentators, those who know, understand it in the following way. وَيَعْلَمُ, first of all, the active form. He knows in the mudari', fi'lul mudari', He knows now and in the future. And He has known. And He has known it always. His knowledge is active, subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not that He doesn't know and He knows. He always knows. Ya'lam. As the changes occurs, He has known that. He knows that. It's an active knowledge of His, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Second, ma. What does ma mean in the Arabic language? In this case, تعني اسم موصول يعني الذي, that which. And is this ma, those of you who are learning Arabic in the Taqwa Academy, etc., ma, is it for a person or is it for a thing? It's for a thing or for a person. It's more general. Man is only for a person. Ma could be for all. So he did not say he knows the baby in the womb only. He says ma, that which is in the arham. And what is in the arham, in the wombs? From the beginning until the end. And from before there is a sperm injected, and before there is an egg, and the details of all of that. All of those details which we do not know. Even now science doesn't know. And even if they know how much, they know ma, that which includes everything you can imagine. From the subatomic to the microscopic to the macroscopic. At all levels, he knows them because he says ma. He didn't say men. So yeah, we know, number one. And he has known it all the time. But you know it now after only certain weeks. Then you know. And then ma includes all of it, the genetic makeup of it, the genes of it. All of that is included in ma, which nobody knows in details. So again, you say, well, they know. No, they don't know, because Allah says ma. They don't know ma. They know at one point man. They don't know ma. They know at some point men. And that's very limited in the scope of ma. وَيَعْلَمُ مَا فِي الْأَرْحَامِ. And fourthly, وَمَا تَدْرِي نَفْسٌ مَاذَا تَكْسِبُ غَدًا وَمَا تَدْرِي نَفْسٌ بِأَيِّ أَرْضٍ تَمُوتُ. And no nafs, no soul, no person knows what it earns tomorrow. Well, so I know I have a job. I know what I'm going to get tomorrow. I know how much I'm going to be paid tomorrow. Well, Allah says, وَمَا تَعْلَمُ نَفْسٌ مَاذَا تَكْسِبُ غَدًا. First of all, the verb غَدًا in the Arabic language means tomorrow, and it means also the future. Because for Allah, the future is always very near, as though it is just tomorrow. That's why غَدًا is also used to mean the day of the hereafter, which may take place after thousands of years, or Allah knows, or hundreds of thousands of years, or 10 years, Allah knows. But that's غَدًا, that's tomorrow. ماذا تكسب غدا? What shall it earn tomorrow? Tomorrow is all this period of time. And it includes the seconds and the minutes and the hours and the days and the weeks and the months and the years. All of that, Allah has knowledge of all of it. Before it be, and during it is, and during its progression. ماذا تكسب غدا. Second, kasb is not only about wealth and money. Kasb is about what also? What you do. Your a'mal. How much hasanat you earn. And how much sayyi'at you earn. That's kasb. That's also something we earn. That's kasb. So I don't know tomorrow or the day after tomorrow and for a month and for a year or for 60 years what my specific actions and words and deeds will be. And what will they be? Hasanat or sayyi'at, and how much? I don't know those details. Nobody knows. That's why وَمَا تَعْلَمُ نَفْسٌ مَاذَا تَكْسِبُ غَدًا وَمَا تَدْرِي نَفْسٌ بِأَيِّ أَرْضٍ تَمُوتُ. And no soul knows where, in which land it will die. Do you know it now? Do you know it now? Anyone knows for sure where we will die? In which land we will die? In which spot we will die? Oh, nobody knows. We only speculate. We only speculate, conjecture, and we feel that it is certitude. But it is not certitude. It is simply by observing that I've been here for 20 years, most likely, and I'm 60 or 70 or 80, most likely this is where I will die, I think. But that's not always the case. Nobody knows it for sure. Nobody knows it for sure. With certitude, with yaqeen, except Allah Azza wa Jal. Some people come to live in some place, and that's where they die. They came to live, not to die, and that's where they die, because they were meant to die. Some people, subhanAllah, a few years ago, news about immigrants who have come from different parts of the world, one especially young African immigrant, subhanAllah, from somewhere, I think Nigeria or Senegal, I forgot, in New York City. You know, the poor man, of course, ran away from violence and ran away from hardships and from economic depravity, and came here to live for a better life. And subhanAllah, I think not after a while ago, he was shot by a police officer by mistake at the door of his house. He came to live. But the qada and qadar, وما تدري نفس ماذا تكسب غدا وما تدري نفس بأي أرض تموت. He came to his destiny. SubhanAllah. And therefore Allah draws our attention to these things so that we learn to connect stronger with Allah Azza wa Jal, to be more committed spiritually and morally human beings and servants of Allah in our relationship with Allah Azza wa Jal. And that sometimes through our arrogance, because we know few things, some of us say, well, we know like God knows. And we ascribe to ourselves as human beings knowledge that only Allah has, because we have known a little bit, and by our arrogance and by our delusion, we think we know so much. And yet we simply did not understand. So these 5 things, well, we know. No, you don't. Read the text well. The texts are not saying what you think you understood from the texts. This is what the texts say. And plus, any knowledge I or you acquire, whether it is in math or physics or psychology or sociology or Quran or hadith or fiqh, it is by the permission of Allah. All ilm belongs to Him, and all ilm is distributed by Him as He pleases. وَلَا يُحِيطُونَ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنْ عِلْمِهِ. However, there's an exception. إِلَّا بِمَا شَاءَ. No one has knowledge or encompasses anything of His knowledge, Allah says, except بِمَا شَاءَ, except by that which He permits. خلاص. That should remove doubts and arrogance from the minds and hearts of those of us who are arrogant or deluded or ignorant. نسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يجعلني وإياكم من الذاكرين الشاكرين الواعين الراضين المرضيين. اللهم لا تحرمنا من جودك وكرمك. اللهم وفقنا لما تحب وترضى وطهر قلوبنا من الجهل والغرور والرياء والسمعة والخيلاء واجمع قلوبنا جميعا على محبتك ورضاك وطاعتك يا أكرم الأكرمين يا رب العالمين. وفقنا لمحبة نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم، حب الصادقين، حب المتيمين، حب المتبعين الطائعين يا أرحم الراحمين يا رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.